Hi, this is Andrea Odom, and this is week 6 video discussion assignment on historical newspapers. The historical event that I chose to focus on this week is Kristallnacht, the Night of Broken Glass, that occurred in Germany in November of 1938 on the 9th and 10th. It was violent attacks against Jews. Their synagogues were burned, their shops, they broke out the windows and ransacked the shops. People were sent to concentration camps, people were beaten. It was very scary. And Jews that had been hesitant to leave up to that point or thought that things would blow over, their attitudes started to really change after this event. One of the big controversial issues or things that we study even now with regard to Holocaust studies is, what did the outside world know about the persecution of the Jews, and why was there not more help? Why did more people not try to help Jews to immigrate, to try to bring Jews into different countries? I always try to have my students guess which country actually allowed the most refugees in, and it's actually the Dominican Republic. They can never guess it. And, you know, we talk a lot about the righteous among the nations and the people that tried to help Jews, tried to rescue Jews. But it's a big controversy. And there's been a couple of things recently that have focused the attention again on this issue. One of them is a documentary by Ken Burns, The U.S. and the Holocaust, that was on PBS. And then also the National Museum in Washington, D.C., the USHMM, has an exhibit right now, you know, about the Americans and the Holocaust and what different, you know, congressional leaders were doing, what the president even was doing with regard to trying to help with the Jewish problem. So with the newspapers, I looked in Chronicling America. It was mostly stuff after the war. So what I really focused on was off of the Holocaust Museum's website. It's a project called History Unfolded. And it's actually, we've been reading this week about crowd sourcing of digital things. And what the project does is it asks people in local areas to look in their newspapers and try to find things that were in their local papers that were happening with regard to the Holocaust, like how it was being communicated to the public. So I was able to find, I found an article in the Asheville paper, I found an article in the Charlotte Observer, and I found an article in the Raleigh News and Observer that all talked about Kristallnacht. So there is stuff out there, and I know I tell students if they ever go to the museum in Washington, D.C., they have a room that has newspapers in it about the Holocaust, and there's actually one of the newspapers in there is from Asheville, which is, you know, in my local area. So that was really, those were the sources that I focused on. And if I were doing this as a presentation, say to a group of teachers, like at a regional conference, not only would I talk about Kristallnacht, show a video clip and, you know, give them some background information, but also teach them how to use the website and how to use History Unfolded so that maybe their classes might want to participate in the project and go and try to find these digital resources themselves. Thanks a lot. And again, Kristallnacht, what did the outside world know?